Welcome to Whiskey One, the channel for the novice, the curious, and the connoisseur. I'm Whiskey One, and today we're going to be tasting and reviewing the Remus Repeal batch. Batch 6 that is, so stick around. Welcome to All Things Whiskey here, fam, and I appreciate you guys checking us out. And one of the videos that we wanted to do following the holiday festivus was all of the whiskeys that I got for my birthday. So this is part of the birthday whiskey series, and our good friend John K from the Albuquerque Whiskey Society gave me the batch 6, and I'm very excited to try it. I have yet to pop it, so this will be a fresh uncorking, and there might be some surprises in store as well. So without further ado, let's get into this bottle, shall we? The batch 6. So, you guys might be wondering, what is Remus? For those of you who already know what Remus is, it's a MGP distillate. And MGP is, Midwest grain products. Although recently they went through a name change. I wanted to mention something real quick before we kind of dive into this, is that they've had a series going. Now this is batch 6, this is the latest and greatest from 2022, and it's bottled at 100 proof or 50% ABV. What's different about this batch as compared to say batch 5 is batch 6 has mostly 10-year and 8-year blended bourbon, and MGP typically uses a high rye mash bill, and there's no difference with this one. They use a combination or a blend of high rye MGP bourbon. Now batch 5 uses a combination of mostly 15-year and 13-year bourbon. So without further ado, let's check this sucker out together. Starting with the color and presentation, got a good little dark orange, almost like burnt copper hue. And as far as the viscosity is concerned, I'm just doing a nice little gentle roll. And as I can see, those little fat lip starts to form around the top of the rib there. And I don't see any legs falling just yet. That's okay. This has probably got a good amount of viscosity. So that's good to see, right? So cheers. Let's get into this nose and overall flavor. Classic MGP, but it feels like there's a little extra here. Now what I typically notice from MGP and Remus is that you get a good dose of like dark cherries right on that first initial presentation, and then you get a little citrus, some black tea, a good amount of caramel, and for that high rye side, you definitely get your baking spices, a good amount of cinnamon, clove. You get this like worn leather as well, and some tobacco. But the one thing that always kind of rings true, for me anyway, is that cherry. And sometimes it can be a little bit candied, if you will. A good amount of cherry, a good amount of citrus. So let's take a little sip. Oh, wow. Okay. This doesn't drink high proof. It's bottled at 50%, and it doesn't drink hot. Really doesn't. Man, this is like really easy going. But I'm gonna take one more sip, and I'm gonna talk about those flavors. Okay. Good amount of citrus up front. The dark cherry, not so much. At least not upon those like initial sips. It's more citrus, more tea-ish, earthy, and it's got a good amount of spice, just not a lot of burn, which is great. Again, being a batch of blended bourbon with mostly 8-year and 10-year bourbons, you know, it doesn't drink young at all. It's got a good amount of age, and honestly, like, I'm really digging the flavor here. I'm gonna take one more sip, and we're gonna go over my thoughts and impressions. Okay. You know, going back to some of the return sips, yeah, you get a good amount of earthiness, more leather. You definitely get some of that tobacco that sort of lingers and kind of builds on itself. But again, that cherry note that you get on the nose just sort of fades away. What really presents itself the most is that good amount of citrus, some orange peel, tangerine, if you will, and then slowly but surely a like apple starts to come forward, and which is pretty nice in my opinion. And you know, overall finish, it's not very long. It's kind of short, really. It doesn't really linger, but it also doesn't burn, right? There's not this lingering sharp burn or anything like that. I think this is meant to be for the casual sipper. This is gonna be an everyday sipper in my opinion. And for that reason, I'm gonna recommend this one for the whiskey novice. Something that I think, you know, someone that's just diving into bourbon will probably really enjoy and will have it as their everyday sipper. Now, if you factor in things like cost, I think this MSRP is about $80, $90, just kind of depending where you shop. I'm sure you could still find it. For that price, I feel it's a little high, given how much different Batch 5 was. I'm going off of memory now, but I definitely think that, you know, the whiskey novice would appreciate it, and I would recommend it for the whiskey novice for sure. I just don't know if your casual drinker will want to shell out that kind of cheddar and get into this. I think there's other bottles that you certainly could dive into. Now, I know I brought up Batch 5 a lot, just kind of like bringing up comparisons. So, you know, I would like to try Batch 5, to be honest with you. Oh, what do we have here, ladies and gents? Remus Batch 5. And I noticed that the label says distilled by G. Remus Distilling, whereas Batch 6 states distilled by Ross and Squibb Distillery. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue like old Batch 5. You know, now I just need a glass. Wouldn't you know, I carry one over here all the time. So let's go ahead and try these out. Let's compare old Batch 5 to number 6. A little quick run, nothing too lengthy. So we got Batch 5 and Batch 6. Let's check out those differences. I don't know, this Batch 5 seems like a little bit more fruity, a little bit more cherry. Also a little bit more spice and tobacco. So let's have a little sip. Wow. It sort of feels like it's a little bit more dense, a little more going on, more rounded, hangs onto the palate a little bit more, dances a little better. Same characteristics. You do see where Batch 5 is older than 6. Now, mind you, 6 doesn't feel youthful. Don't get me wrong. Just Batch 5 just feels like it's got a little bit more sophistication. Like somebody who's a veteran, if you will. You know, played the game a little longer, got a little bit more to show, and a little bit more to talk about. And I'm going to take one more sip because I'm enjoying Batch 5. Yeah. Oh, that finish is slightly longer, more moderate, moderate to long finish. I really like batch 5, and I do remember how tasty batch 5 was. I only regret that I did not get a bottle of my own. This is a loaner from John K. So once I let him know that I was planning to do this video, we talked a little bit, and I was like, hey, if you still got batch 5, I'd love to borrow it and just see, you know, head to head how the batch 6 would do against the 5. And I do remember being, you know, that 5 being special. It is special. I do like it. And I certainly think the batch 5 was well worth the cheddar. Same price, just had older distillate in it. You know, older whiskey can either go sideways on you, a little too oaky, or it could taste amazing. And I think they knocked it out the park with batch 5. So I'm gonna set this down and go back to this 6 real quick. Cheers. Very similar, but I gotta say, just not as dense, but a lot of the same flavors. I mean, it's super, super similar. I don't think you're gonna sell yourself short by getting batch 6, guys. So if you have batch 5, I think getting batch 6 just makes sense. There might be some of you diehards that are gonna be maybe gravitating away from it. Only because you know how good batch 5 is. If you've seen the reviews on 6, you might be kind of shying away from getting a bottle. But honestly, I'm one of those that loves to have those different batches year to year just to try them out and see those subtle nuances. And I think you really do have to try them head to head if you get the chance. You will notice there are some subtle nuances. Maybe you get something different than what I got. But I highly recommend, you know, batch number 6, and not just because I got it for my birthday, but I think it's a good sipper, and I think something that you guys will definitely enjoy. But it's maybe an unfair comparison to compare it to batch 5 or prior year's release. But for all you checking us out, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button. If you have batch 5 and or 6, drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear what you have to say about it. And for you newcomers, thanks for checking us out. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Make sure that alert's on. That way you know the next time we drop our videos. And we do weekly drops, typically on a Friday. So you got a little something to watch over the weekend. We appreciate all your support. Keep showing us that love, fam. John, thanks again for the whiskey bourbon. We appreciate you very much. And Albuquerque Whiskey Society, just a quick shout out to all of you guys showing us some love and checking out our videos. Here at Whiskey One, it's about the one you enjoy. Cheers.
Shut up and sit down.
Well, we're gonna talk about the Remus Repeal batch number 6.